Experience the firepower of the AH-64 Apache. So the Apache helicopter, if it's the one that I'm thinking about, is like a legendary military helicopter. I think it's been used in like at least the last 40 years worth of wars and conflicts. It's the name is just synonymous with like badass helicopter. Just the word Apache just sounds super cool. So I'm really curious to see like, how powerful is this helicopter? Is it even a helicopter? Because I know that there is an Apache helicopter, but maybe this is a plane. I think this actually might be a plane. It is a helicopter. Right.
I have Cali target as well, and you are clear to fire. Fire. Good round, ceasefire DUIs.
This is the AH-64 Apache, the most powerful attack helicopter the U.S. Army has ever flown. Today, I'm here at Fort Rucker to take you up close to this beast of a machine. We'll be meeting the pilot, the gunner, and we'll even have the chance to watch a live fire demonstration to see what makes this thing one of the most lethal helicopters on the battlefield today.
Yeah, that helicopter looks incredible. Just those two massive, like, I don't even know what, are these machine guns or are these like rocket launchers?
Today.
Let's go. It's a stunning looking piece
Sam,
of equipment.
welcome to Fort Rucker.
Thank you.
This is the home of Army Aviation, and today we're actually at Hornchurch Army Heliport, which is home of the 1st Battalion, 14th Aviation Regiment, where we train aviators on the AH-64 Apache.
You know, of all the helicopters in the Army, I feel like this is probably one of the most exciting to fly.
It's definitely the most famous, I would say. Like, I can't think of any other military helicopters. This is the only one that I can think of.
I mean, just looking at it, it looks incredibly intimidating.
It absolutely is, and actually this Apache is the AH-64 Echo Apache Guardian, which is the newest variant of the Apache. So the Apache is the Army's premier attack helicopter, provides attack missions, reconnaissance missions, security missions in support of the ground force commander, and is able to engage any enemy target on the battlefield. Here at Fort Rucker, we actually train over 700 postgraduate and undergraduate flight students flying over 40,000 flight hours a year. But today we're just excited to have you here, kind of show you the capabilities and give you a demonstration of what this Apache can do.
Now, when it comes to the Apache, there is a lot to talk about, and that's because this aircraft is widely considered to be the best attack helicopter in history.
Wow.
The Apache is known for being fierce, lethal, and deadly.
In history, so there's never been anything better. What about now, though? Because I'm sure, there's newer attack helicopters than this. There must be something better than this by now, or is it still numero uno?
So it only makes sense to start with the features, giving it that reputation. Yep, I'm talking about the weapon systems.
Under the nose is probably one of the most iconic features of the Apache. This is the M230E1 30mm chain gun. So this thing is capable of firing rounds up to 625 rounds per minute at targets in excess of 3,000 meters.
You know, one thing I've always found interesting is the way this gun can move around. So to my understanding, right, it can aim both based on where the sights are pointed, but also where the pilot's head is pointed, right?
That's absolutely
No
correct. If we tie this
way.
thing to our helmet-mounted display, it can deflect up to 86 degrees left and right.
That's crazy. So if the pilot turns like left or right, it will follow his head movement, so he doesn't have to aim it. That is so cool.
60 degrees down, 11 degrees up. Really advantageous because it allows us to engage targets even if the nose of the helicopter is not pointing at them.
Now, the targeting system known as the TADS is what's built into this ball-like structure that sits on the nose of the aircraft. You can think of it as the eyes of the Apache, and it contains the FLIR, or forward-looking infrared camera, that relays information to both the pilot and the gunner through their helmet-mounted eyepiece. With this system, a target is able to be identified, tracked, and engaged, using the full loadout of the Apache's weapons.
Mate, you do not want to be looking down that thing, like knowing that it's coming after you with this pointed at you. Forget it.
All right, Sam, so this is kind of where the real firepower begins. Right here we have the 2.75-inch Hydra 70 rocket system. So in this actual rocket tube here, we can take up to 19 rockets. However, we can put up to 4 of them on the aircraft. That'd give us a total of 76 rockets. What we can do here is load a couple of different types of warheads depending on the mission. Could be high explosive airburst or illumination, depending on what we want to do. Okay, so on this next pylon, we got the AGM-114 Hellfires. This is actually the Apache's primary weapon system. This is used for tank busting. So we can take up to 4 per pylon, which would give us a total of 16 if we wanted it.
I love how he said tank busting. We use it to bust open tanks.
On each missile, we got a couple different seekers that we can use. So these missiles can be laser guided or radar guided, depending on the mission. So today during the live fire, we're going to concentrate primarily on the rockets and the 30 millimeter. But believe me, the lethality of this missile is pretty incredible.
I believe it. I believe it.
Now you guys know I'm always trying to make the most epic videos possible, but they do take a lot of time and resources, which is why I want to thank War Thunder for. Now you may have noticed that the Apache has 2 separate cockpit stations, and that's because the standard crew includes both a pilot and a gunner. While both seats contain flight controls and the ability to fire weapons, being in the front, the gunner has the best view of the terrain, which makes it easier to identify enemy targets. On the other hand, sitting slightly elevated in the back, the pilot station also gives a clear forward view, but is better optimized for flying.
Sam, where you're sitting right now is the co-pilot's gunner seat. As you noticed before, there's some similarities between the two, but there's also some major differences as well.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about the visibility difference, because I know the back seat's a little bit raised, right? But you guys still have to be able to see the terrain well, so what are those challenges and how?
It's so much bigger than it looks from the front. Like from the front, it still looks pretty big, but yeah, it's actually pretty huge.
It's kind of oriented to make sure you can deal with that.
Absolutely. So with visibility, the back seat is more primarily designed to fly the helicopter. So because he sits higher, he has a better view of the terrain and the area around the helicopter. As the gunner, the majority of things we target is past the human line of sight anyway. So the majority of things we're going to target are going to be through our sights systems, right? Which we can display on any one of the 3 screens right here and see those targets through our TADs in either infrared or a day TV type camera to engage and destroy those targets.
So I know a question I'm always wondering, right, is where's the trigger? How are you firing these weapons from up here?
Absolutely. So if you put your hand on the grips in front of you, and you feel behind it, there's flaps on the back. If you lift those flaps, you can feel the trigger.
There they are.
On the right side is our laser that we can use to range and designate targets. And on the left side is the trigger that controls the weapon systems. We can either fire the missile, the gun, or the rockets all through that left trigger. Sam, if you want to reach up behind you, I have a helmet here that you can put on.
Okay.
And then attached to our helmet is our helmet display unit. I'll go ahead and put it on for you now. And as we roll this in front of our eyeball, that is what we use to connect the gun to our helmet. So now wherever you would look, the gun is going to follow your eyeball, wherever the crosshairs in the...
Wow, that is so cool. That's like something out of a sci-fi movie, really. I find that so impressive.
The middle of that helmet display unit is on. If we pulled the trigger, the gun's going to destroy that target.
So seriously, with this little piece, no matter where you move, the gun is then moving, and then you just squeeze the trigger, and it's that easy, huh?
Absolutely. And the cool thing about the helmet is between your legs is the cyclic, what we use to control the helicopter. Generally, when we have the gun connected to our sight, we're going to pull the trigger on the cyclic.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Now, one thing you may have noticed is that some Apaches are equipped with this bulb-like object that sits on the top of the main rotor.
I'm guessing that's radar, like radar detection.
It's known as the Fire Control Radar, or FCR.
Yes.
If installed, it allows for the tracking of multiple targets at much greater distances. In fact, with the FCR attached, the Apache can hide behind the tree line, targeting and firing at an enemy by only revealing the very top of the radar. One Apache equipped with an FCR can transmit that target data to any other Apache flying alongside it, which is why it's common to see a mix of aircraft with it attached and some without.
Okay, so we're up here at the Apache's rotor system. So this is a fully articulated rotor system, 49 feet diameter. We have our main rotor right here, and in the back we have our tail rotor, and the tail rotor actually counteracts the torque produced by the main rotor.
So I'd always assumed in a helicopter to go higher, you're actually spinning the rotor faster, and like to go lower, it's the opposite. But you were telling me earlier that's not really the case, right?
It's not, no. Once we get the rotor up to its optimal RPM, our rotor RPM, we actually change the collective pitch of the blades to go up and down, and then we cyclically change the pitch of the blades to go left, right, forward, and
So
aft.
the blades are really like deflecting or coming back up. So the speed's the same, it's just the angle of these is what's making you go up and down.
That's exactly right.
Because, yeah, I would have thought that, you know, to get more thrust, it would have to spin, the rotors would spin more to gain elevation.
Well, thank you so much for the tour of the Apache. I guess next up we've got the live fire demo.
That's right. We're actually going to go inside and gear up. You're welcome to join, but we should be running up here momentarily.
Sounds good. So I know you're not wearing everything that Apache pilots might have when you're going into a combat situation, but can you talk a little bit about what you're wearing right now?
Sure. So this is our survival vest here. A couple pieces of equipment on it. I have my survival radio right here. I have my survival knife right here. Both of these are kind of our primary tools if for whatever reason we would have to evade, survive in the wilderness, anything like that. Inside of this thing, I got two pouches. One's a medical pouch, one's a communication pouch. Medical pouch with various types of medicines, bandages, tourniquets. Communication pouch with signaling mirrors, fire starters, again, anything needed to survive. And then lastly, I have my helmet bag located below me. That will have my helmet, my gloves, checklist, stuff that we're going to use here on pre-flight and run-up.
It's a lot of gear, isn't it? Like, I'm guessing all of this stuff he's carrying probably weighs at least 5 kilos, 10 pounds.
So here's how this is going to work. That right there is a UH-60 Blackhawk. Because the Apache only has 2 seats, one for the pilot, one for the gunner, I'm unfortunately not able to go up for a ride. But we've got the next best thing. That Blackhawk is going to be our seat for the live fire demo. And honestly, we're going to be able to get a lot closer from this than we would be standing on the ground at the range. So this is going to be awesome.
This would be so much fun. Oh my God, I would love to experience something like this.
So first up, we're actually going to be headed over to the ammo field to get the Apache loaded up. Here at Rucker, that's handled in an area a little bit across base. So we're going to head there, get those rockets, and get that 30 mil loaded, and then we'll be ready to go.
Once we landed at the ammo field, I made my way out of the Blackhawk and over to the Apache, where I was actually able to help with some of the loading. This was pretty wild, just getting a hands-on experience up close to the rockets and 30mm rounds that we would soon be firing. It was crazy. After I did my part, I turned it back over to the professionals, who gave me a good look at what it really means to be efficient at loading the Apache. Once the loading was complete, I made my way back to the Blackhawk.
Mate, I wonder how much it costs an Apache, each unit of an Apache. I think it's got to be at least 10 million. More? Probably more.
The pilots got the prop spinning and lifted us back up, meaning it was finally time to head over to the range, where the live fire portion of the demo would take place.
To enter the range. The plan is to start with the 30 mil and the Hydra rockets in a hovering position. To be honest, I really have no idea what to expect. It should be incredible though, so grab the popcorn. It's going to be awesome.
As we made it into the hovering position, the Apache crew began to search and verify the target downrange. You'll hear the interaction between both crew members, with the gunner typically establishing contact and the pilot confirming they are locked on.
Establishing a laser range. Good laser range of 943 meters.
Now the targets are spread out both at long range and close range distances. What you'll hear is the crew identifying the target and confirming how they want to engage. In this case, either the 30mm chain gun or the Hydra rockets.
Storing the target. Messages around 230.
At this point, it's finally time to fire.
Clear to fire. You are clear to fire. Firing.
Once the payload has been released, the crew will then confirm if the target has been suppressed or if an additional payload is required.
I think they need to shoot a missile at that thing. I want to see it blow up.
Rounds complete. Target appears to be destroyed. Roger, good round.
As the Apache reconfigured for another round of firing, the Black Hawk took us up to a higher altitude so that we could witness the live fire from a different vantage point, this time looking down on the Apache. The pilot and gunner went through their standard checklist once again, this time choosing to engage the close-range target.
Already armed range. We got a valid usable laser range of 2626. Messages, co-op, 6PD norm 20. Match and shoot. Roger, match and shoot. Firing. Target is destroyed. Roger, good rounds. Target destroyed.
With both targets now suppressed, the crew decided it was time to head into the next portion of the live fire.
It's so cool seeing the missiles like come out of the container, like them just zooming away from the Apache, because you don't get to see it like in real life, like unless you're on the battlefield, and even then you're never going to be able to see that unless you're on the ground, right?
This time engaging the targets from a dive.
All right, so now we're going to transition to some of the diving fire gun runs, which would be really cool. So the Black Hawk's going to get us positioned, and the Apache's going to come in and actually be moving as it shoots at the targets. This is going to be awesome.
As you'll hear on the comms, the Apache will be using the Hydra rockets to engage this next target. After going through their checklist once again and making sure the target has been verified, you'll see the crew push the Apache into a forward dive to deliver the payload.
Roger, let's go ahead and engage this with PD rockets co-op. Affirm. Looking good. I'm waiting for these contacts. Let's hear what's our range. Yeah, those are tight. Those are tight shots. Yeah, it's going to be tight. And I'll be firing. Roger. Ram Kelly, target is well.
There we go. There we go.
Good round. Ceasefire DWAS. Ceasefire DWAS.
All right, that was pretty crazy, but if you thought we were done, not quite. The Apache has a little bit of fuel left to burn, so we're actually going to head to an area off-site, do some low-level flying, banking in and out, left and right. This should be crazy. It'll give us
Hell of an experience. Like the cost of this, like, you know, the fuel, the rounds, it's got to be in the thousands of dollars, I'm thinking.
one final taste of what the Apache is truly capable of.
Low levels. You guys know by now that this is always my favorite part of every flight, because in this case, it's where we really get to see what the Apache is capable of. As we approached the low-level terrain, the Apache broke off, descending down and flying just a few feet off the tree line. Now, from my vantage point in the Black Hawk, this was pretty crazy to see. Once again, just watching the ridiculous maneuverability of the Apache. So at this point, we've seen the live fire, we've witnessed the low-level maneuverability, and I honestly thought it was time to head back to base to wrap things up. But no. Instead, the Apache rejoined
Wait, there's more.
alongside us, and the crew radioed in to tell me that they had one final surprise. Only issue was, they left things pretty vague. They said that there was an empty field just up ahead where I would be dropped off. I was then told to walk to the dead center of the field, put my hands out, and wait patiently. Sounds a little weird, right? But when an Apache gunner and pilot tell you to do something, you do it. So that's exactly what I did.
Oh, no way. That is so sick. Oh my god.
Oh my god!
So, yeah, that was insane. I've been around a lot of aircraft, but the intimidation you feel when the AH-64 Apache is pointed directly at you flying just a few feet overhead, it's a feeling unlike anything else. Honestly, this entire day has been incredible, and as we made our way back to the Black Hawk to return to Fort Rucker, all I could do was take in the views one final time.
Very cool. Very, very cool helicopter.
Well, guys, that was absolutely incredible. I'll be honest, I was a little bummed at first not to be flying in the Apache with you, but honestly, the view we were able to get from the Blackhawk was crazy.
Hey, we enjoyed having you. We hope that the view from the ground as we were doing our low flyovers looked great.
It literally felt like you were about to hit me at some point, so great flying. To everyone watching, I hope you guys learned something new. Make sure to sign up for the Flyby newsletter in the description below. And I think that's a wrap. We'll catch you guys next time.
Great video. Great video. The experience of being flown in that Black Hawk and just having the Apache go overhead and just seeing it would be, I'd never forget it. I would never forget it. I wonder if you can pay to have a similar experience to this, because I think, mate, I'd do it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.